So, welcome to another episode of the Lady Trucking CEO podcast. Today, we have an amazing guest that we're going to be speaking to. She built her own drug consortium, and she services the trucking industry in a way that is extremely vital because without her and her services, none of us will be able to be rolling on the road. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce today Ebony Polk. Hi, Ebony.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be here.
Oh, it is a pleasure having you on the show today. So real quick, tell the people who you are and exactly what you do.
Yes, my name's Ebony Polk, and I am the owner of Polk Medical Testing Solutions located in St. Louis, Missouri, where I do drug testing, hair collections, and urine collections as well, fingerprinting, I-9, gender reveals, DNA testing, COVID testing, and of course, my favorite, I am your favorite trucking consortium.
That's awesome. That's the whole gamut when it comes to testing.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
A little bit of this and that.
Wow, and it's so rare to see a woman that looks like us, women of color, in your industry or in this space. So,
Yes.
can you tell us? So let's go back before you got into starting your business. What were you doing? Give us a little bit of your backstory. How did you get to the point where you were like, you know what? I'm going to start a drug company. This is not whatever I'm
Right.
doing now is not working for me. I'm going to do something else.
So I have a home health care background. So I had a home health care agency for about 15 years. I am a natural caregiver. I come from a line of families who are caregivers. So that is really like what I love to do and what I am passionate about doing. It just when the pandemic hit, my client that I had for 5 years had passed away.
Oh my
And I just
goodness.
was like, I don't really want to go in someone else's home and like learn them all over again. What else can I do but still be an essential worker just in case if it's another pandemic just so happens to come again, I still want to
Yes.
be able to work. So I just was scrolling on Instagram and I would hear my wife, she was dispatching at the time, talk about, sending people to get drug tests and all this. I'm like, you know what? I woke her up at like 2:30 in the morning. I'm like, I'm gonna open me up a drug testing facility. She's like, okay. And, I just birthed really Polk Medical Testing Solutions in the middle of the night. And I just
Wow.
like that next day, I started, researching on what I needed to do and how I could become a federal DLT collector. And so I just, did those steps and here I am. 1 year
Wow.
later, it was a year in September 2nd to be exact.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, yes,
That's something because I know used that first year in business, not everyone makes it to the first year. And so that you made it
yes,
in such a niche industry that you're in is
yes.
just really amazing. And you know, what were some of the difficulties that you ran into in getting to this point?
So I really can't say that it was a difficult moment. I
Mhm.
think the most difficult was just like really finding out what I really wanted to do.
Okay.
Like I said, I do so much. So
Hmm.
like I just wanted every time I would think of one thing, I would be like, well, wait, I can add this. This kind of goes hand in hand. I never even really thought about being a consortium. That wasn't even on my radar. That
Wow.
kind of just happened as I was doing drug testing and sending people to get drug tests. They were like, you should look into being a consortium. So I'm like, well, what is that? What does a consortium do? Like, what is that? So I
Hmm.
would just, research on what that was and what that looked like for me and my business. So unfortunately, like I'm in the perfect space to be a consortium.
No.
So I just, researched what I needed to do to become a consortium. So really, I really started being a consortium like February,
Okay.
and it literally just took off from
Hmm.
there. Right now, I have 170 companies that I
Hmm.
take care of, and it literally just took off.
Yeah, because
Like it wasn't anything that I even expected. I
yep.
wasn't looking to like be in the trucking industry like that. but I'm in the trucking industry without owning a truck. So it's like the perfect thing.
Exactly. And you're able to, you don't have to be on a truck to do what you do. And if you were, is this something that you're able to do from home? Like if you chose to do so?
Yes. So I feel like if you are a dispatcher, if you are an at-home mom, if you're just looking to make some extra income, being a consortium is perfect. Like
Wow.
you literally can be sitting in your living room and do what I do. Just because I have a facility, I could have still done this at home. Just having a facility just added like another source of income to being a consortium, because not
Wow.
only can I send them anywhere, my truck drivers who are based in Missouri, which I have a lot of them, they can just come to my facility to get tested. So
Okay.
that's like another, yeah, so that's like
Okay.
another way I can get, get some
Yes,
money
get
as
to that
well.
bag.
So
Okay.
yes,
Yes.
ma'am. So
Okay.
that's like the perfect thing. I couldn't have planned this any better.
Yeah, and the thing is that the role that you play is such an important role because no driver of any carrier could get on the road without that initial like even if
No.
you're an owner operator and
Yes.
you drive a truck, you have to get drug tested and go through that
Yes.
process before you're even approved to go on the road. So your company really filled that gap
Yes.
that you didn't even
And a lot of
realize
people
was
don't,
there.
right. And a lot of people don't know that. They
Mm-hmm.
think because they're owner operator, that excludes them from
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
having a driver qualification file or having a pre-employment drug test. And it really doesn't. You still have to abide by the FMCSA rules, and
100%.
you still have to do what you have to do, even if you're an owner operator.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what has been your biggest success so far since you've gotten started?
I would say, man, it's so many things.
So,
So first, I would say just networking first.
mm-hmm,
Like that has been like the ultimate. I'm not really a big social media person. My wife kind of handles all that.
mm-hmm,
So I'm not really a big social media person. But because I have a great networking team, we
mm-hmm.
all just work together. And like you said, you really can't go without having a person like me. So it's like
100%.
I'm very pivotal in your trucking company. So you have to have someone, like me to be over your drug and alcohol program. So I would take that and just run with it.
What I really love about the fact that a company like yours exists, right? An African American woman owned drug consortium or drug testing company is that you don't see that out here. I'm pretty sure you're an anomaly in your space. I mean,
Yeah.
am I, is that safe to say?
Well, so there are other facilities like me. I am networked with facilities in different states that are like me. I have
Mm-hmm.
my colleagues are like wonderful. We all bounce ideas off of each other. But what I can say, when I first got into this business, everybody was looking at like the bigger labs. They weren't looking at like a Polk medical testing. So when they did find a Polk medical testing, they're like, hey, I can get in and out in like 7 or 8 minutes, and I can just call and have an appointment, or I can just walk right up and I can get this done. Or you can call me on the phone, tell me what you need, and I'm going to call you right back. They're just so surprised,
Yes.
that a company like mine exists with great customer service, because I'm a consumer too when I go
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. So I
Mm-hmm.
always think like, how can I be better? What can I do to set myself apart from any other lab or any other place that's doing what I'm doing?
Wow. So in that transition from home health aid into entrepreneurship, what would you say was something that either came up that was unexpected that you didn't really expect?
When I had my home health care agency, I kind of like did it from home because I was
Mm-hmm.
a worker too. So I only had like private duty clients that, wanted me, and my employees, I had about 15 employees.
Mm-hmm.
They just wanted us. So I would say just going from having kind of like a home-based business to having a brick and mortar is like
A
a
little
big
different.
thing to get
Okay.
adjusted to.
Wow. I can imagine. I can imagine.
A lot comes with having a brick and mortar facility,
Mm-hmm.
it ain't always peaches and cream,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot, that goes into it. Like just basically picking a great location. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
my location has a really good thing to do with my success too as
Yes.
well. I'm in a great, location.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was looking for a space, I wanted to be close to the airport. I wanted to be around highways. I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to be where an 18 wheeler can just zoom on in here and zoom on out.
Okay.
So it took me a minute to find,
Yeah.
what I really, really wanted and what was best for Polk medical testing.
I see. Okay. So if if there was someone who wanted to get into this particular niche in the trucking industry, what would you say their first steps had to be? Like, if you could break it down into three simple steps, like do this first, make sure you do this, then you do this, and you're on your way. You're not. It's not the end of the. It's not the whole process, but just steps in that direction.
Well, first, I would tell them you need to figure out what it is that you want to do. If you want to be in the trucking industry, what do you want to do in the trucking industry? You necessarily don't have to take the road that I did, but
Mhm.
what is it that you want to do? Then get you a business name, get your LLC or S Corp or whatever it is you want to do. Take you a class, take you plenty. I took plenty of classes.
Mhm.
Some didn't work. I wasted some money on some, but some did work. I had to
Yes.
do what was best for me at the time and what I
Mhm.
wanted for my business. So, sometimes you have to go through trial and error, but
Mhm.
I made my way and I found out what it was I wanted to do. So I would say, figure out what you want to do, get your, do your research, get your LLC. If you want a brick and mortar, where would you want that to be at?
Mhm.
Work on your business credit. Those are all things, I think that are very important to, getting a business.
Okay. And how do you? So, I know for me as an entrepreneur, like that balancing like home life and work life could be. It kind of runs together sometimes.
Yes, it really
So
does.
let's
I
talk about
agree.
that. How do you handle that? Like.
Well, it's like not easy. I'm married. We have three kids, 22-year-old son, a 13-year-old son. And so when me and my wife got together, when we first got married, we adopted a baby. He was 2 months old when we received him, and
Mhm.
he's 3 years old now.
Wow.
So I would say, balancing that is, it's hard, but it's something that has to be done.
Yes.
We live together, we work together, so it's hard. You just have to like, make time for things that you want to do in life.
Mhm.
We both know that we're both an entrepreneur, so we both know that means early mornings, late nights.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
we kind of just piggyback off of each other. She's getting the kids, I'm at the office, so it's hard, but it definitely can be done. You just got to put your mind to it. And like I said, being an entrepreneur is not easy. If it was, everybody would be one. So
It's different.
you
It's a different.
definitely, yes,
It's a whole different
yes,
mindset. It's a
it
whole
is.
different mindset being an entrepreneur. So and getting into mindset. Let's talk about that a little bit. What are some of the things that you do to really keep up with the mindset that is needed in order to do what you do?
Well, first of all, it's like I said, it's not easy,
Mm-hmm.
I have to speak life into myself. My wife speaks life into all of us. So I would say, you have to have mind control. You have to, say your daily meditations. You have to speak, this entrepreneurial thing into yourself because it's
Yeah.
not easy. And you have to have balance, set yourself goals. My wife gets on me all the time because I write on paper a lot. She's, the nifty, internet and all that
Mm-hmm,
cute,
mm-hmm.
she does all that. But I, write notes to myself. I have like thousands of sticky pads everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I set myself goals, each month I say I want to have 10 new trucking companies like this, and I just keep taking that goal further and further.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If that's, whatever drug testing looks like that month, I'm trying to like beat myself from that previous month or
Wow.
that previous week, So I just want to like always want to do better.
Yes, 100%, 100%. One of the things that I've started doing is like listening to Audible, like the audio books that really help to feed because the mindset of an entrepreneur is different from that of an employee. Like, and
I just
because
can't up and quit my job,
exactly like because as an employee, and nothing against like people who work, like nothing against employees, but I'm just saying like the the whole approach is just different,
Yeah.
and so like I've been listening to like audiobooks. I'm like a part of a book club, or and it helps to really feed
Yes,
that, so that you don't feel like you're going crazy, and so that the
I
dreams
know.
that you have inside of you are not like, sometimes people could be a little discouraging, especially if
Yes.
you were doing one thing one time and now all of a sudden it seems to them, all of a sudden now you over here doing something that's not even related.
Yes.
And so
It
just
helps to have like-minded people around you too.
mhm, mhm.
So I have my business partners, LLG trucking consultants. They, can open your trucking business from A to Z. Then they pass you on to me. I have trucking recruiter that I'm partnered with, Miss Jerry, Life on the Road Recruiting. So we all bounce ideas off of each other. So sometimes we'll be on the phone and we'll just have, oh, they thought about idea for Polk medical testing, or I thought about idea for Life on the Road, or vice
Mm,
versa. So it's always
okay.
good to have like-minded people who are around you
Mhm.
that can speak ideas into you or have good suggestions for your business. Like me and my wife talk about business all the time. It's like really, we talk about work all the time. So she's always telling me like what I could do, what I need to do to make me better,
Mhm.
or vice versa, just, to make our brands better. So
Mhm.
when you are around people that want to see you do good, it's kind of hard for you to fail. Like,
I
you
agree.
just always want to do better.
Mhm. Mhm. That's 100%, 100%. Have you had any clients or situations that were difficult and you were like, okay, um how am I,
I
have
have
you
them
ever
all the
have you ever
time.
how do you handle when you come up on clients that are character builders, let's say?
It's a learning lesson every time I have one. So I just, I try to still stay like my bubbly self. Sometimes, they can take you there. But I've just noticed that, I'm not perfect either. So
Mhm.
I might, be having a bad day. I try not to take it out on any of my customers or my clients, but I just try to put myself in their shoes, so I always just try to stay positive as much as I can, to help them. A lot of times it come off of frustration too.
Mhm.
So I just try to, like I said, just stay positive and try to help them as much as I can. I know I'm not going to be able to please everybody. You're going to have those couple of people that are just hard to please people. And, you
Mm.
can't do, no matter what you do, you're just not going to be able to please them. But,
Wow.
I just, still stay bubbly and just have a good day. I hope you have a blessed day. Just try to stay as
Exactly.
nice as I
Wow.
can.
Wow. Yeah, it sometimes, you find yourself going in one direction and they trying to take you somewhere else, and you just like,
Yes,
we're
yes.
not doing this
I'm
today,
telling
sir.
you, it's hard. It's hard, but you got to be the bigger person.
Absolutely,
Sometimes my wife
100%.
say, "I'm tired of being a bigger person." I'm like, "Me too," but we was built for this. You just have to
Exactly.
take the high road out sometimes.
100%. Because I will say that a lot of times those difficult people help to develop something in me,
That's true.
because I'm
That's
like,
true.
okay, maybe this is God's way of telling me you need a little bit more patience.
Yeah,
Just take a
yeah.
deep
You got
breath.
mm-hmm.
And, or maybe might need to change my perspective to say, so it's just like you said, sometimes people are just frustrated because I
Yep.
know being out on the road is not easy. And then
No.
when you're like, when you're when something expires or is close to expiring and you need to, the deadline is closing in, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So
Yeah,
yeah, 100%.
you're right.
Wow. Yeah. So it could be a little, but I think, but I would say that it's worth it, right?
It definitely is. I wouldn't change what I do or my customers and clients for anything. I'm very personable with each one of them. I try to make their experience with me better than what they had previously or what they ever gonna have. They're
I
always
get
gonna
it.
remember Ebony from Polk Medical Testing. Like
The bubbly
I'm
smile.
not gonna let you forget about me.
I know that's right. Wow. Okay. So, all right. So I know. So you started out in healthcare, like in taking care of people one-on-one, and so you made the transition into where you are now. So where do you see yourself in your business, like in the next 5 to 10 years? What's the vision?
So I really don't have a vision. I'm just so focused on this right now that I just really haven't had an opportunity to just be like, okay, what does Polk Medical Testing look like in 5 years?
Okay.
I can tell you what my wife's vision of Polk Medical Testing is. She always say we're gonna have them everywhere.
Yes, I see it as a franchise. I told you when we first spoke, I could see it as a franchise.
Yes, that's exactly what she says. So I feel like, I would say give myself another 2 years in this space where I am with Polk Medical Testing and just doing what I'm doing. And I definitely can see myself in 5 years being a big name, a big brand, a franchise somewhere. So I definitely
100%.
I'm ready for that.
Wow, that's awesome. That is amazing. So we're about to wrap up. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you so much for having
this
me.
has been amazing, so informative.
Yes.
If you were talking to that new owner operator or that woman CEO who, or a woman who is thinking of, maybe getting into the drug consortium business or into the lab testing business. So this is two questions I'm realizing as I'm asking it.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
So talk to that woman who is thinking of going specifically into the drug consortium arena. What advice would you have for her? Like, what pitfalls would you talk to her about avoiding?
So I would first tell them, if you're thinking about, doing anything that I'm doing, to go for it. I am about to launch my class on how to be a consortium. So I'm about to release that. I've been working on that for a few months now. I've just been trying to add everything in there, all of my failures that I did at the beginning, to all of the successes that I have made at the end, with documents and just, website, just everything. It's like I wanted to add everything in there that I made a mistake on so that I could help someone else not to make that same mistake. So I would definitely tell them to purchase the class, number one, and just go for it. Just, and that doesn't have to be a consortium. It can be whatever you want to do. Like, just jump out there and do it. You don't even know if you can or can't do it if you never try. Nice. So I would definitely tell them to go for it. And it's funny you asked that, because I do drug testing for like some of the mega carriers. So when their drivers come in here, I'm like, why come you not your own operator? Why you don't have a truck? Like, I always just, that's like when we're talking, I'm always encouraging them. Yes. You can do this on your own too. Like, so I definitely am a big cheerleader for being an entrepreneur, for people who want to just, jump out there and do something different. So I would have to tell them to just go for it.
Wow. You mentioned like some of the mistakes that you made along the way. What would you say was your biggest mistake? Can you tell us about that experience?
So my biggest mistake I feel like that I made is just by not doing enough talking. I've always been a person like in the background and kind of like listening and, hanging out. But now I've kind of like come out of my shell a little bit. I won't say that I'm like really shy, but I just kind of like, I'm just not the upfront camera type. So I feel like that I could be like way further than where I am right now if I wasn't that behind the scenes kind of person. But I'm learning and I'm growing. So I feel like I am doing better. But if you're not a shy person, or if you are a shy person, just, start talking. I get up in the mirror in the morning or in the shower, and I just be talking to myself.
That's a great tip. Not gonna lie, because I would have never guessed that you weren't you have your personality is so bubbly and
thinks that. Nobody ever thinks
that's
that.
so interesting.
I'm telling you, people who've known me for like a long time, they'll say, I didn't know that about you. And I'm like, yeah, because it's different when I'm like hanging out one-on-one talking to somebody versus like on live, or that's like something that I kind of stray away from.
That's so interesting, because but I remember the first time we spoke, the first time we met, it was like, hey, like we,
Yeah. So
like we knew each other.
It's crazy because me and my wife, we like be role playing. Like I like ask me questions. What do you think she's gonna ask me? Like what?
Girl, we just talking, girl. We just talking.
It's definitely a struggle for me, but I'm doing way better now. I'm doing better.
Awesome. Okay, so you spoke to the woman or the person who might be thinking about starting their own business. Now, what about the owner operator who he got his truck, he or she got their truck, and now they're like, do I really need this drug? What would you say to them? Because like, what is one of the biggest pitfalls you've seen carriers fall into when it comes to your specific niche?
Not being in compliance, not having that pre-employment drug test or having a consortium. They are issuing big fines. Those fines can start at $2,500. For an owner operator, I'm sure that they just don't have $25 to just be giving, somebody. So that's a lot of money. So you definitely want to do your research as an owner operator on what all the things that you need to have. And having a consortium is is a big deal.
It's
like,
on the list.
When I go through my new entry audit with my new owner operators, they say, oh, Ebony, you was right. That's on there. They want to have information. They want to see that proof that you have that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just not telling y'all this for my health. Like, this is really serious. I've seen people with $25,000 fines for being in business 10 years and never drug testing their people. Like, so it's a serious thing. Like, we had him on a live a few months ago just because we couldn't believe it. We couldn't believe it. And this is a person who's had his trucking company for over 10 years that didn't know that they were supposed to be doing this. And, well, fortunately, they were under the radar, but it takes that one roadside, inspection, that one stop at the weigh station to put you on the radar. And, they coming for you.
They come for you.
And especially now, since a lot of people are jumping in the trucking business, they want to wean out the people who are not doing the right thing. So if that looks like, giving you a DOT audit and putting your business out of service, like that's what they want to do. So I just want to make sure that, when I am your consortium, you are in great hands. Like, I'm going to protect your investment. I'm going to make sure that on my part, you're going to be covered.
Yeah. Awesome. Wow. So what about, I know that, so the trucking industry has all types of people in it. And so some people may have come from a past where they were into drugs, or they've had, run-ins with that. So how would someone who may be wanting to go into a different direction now, will they be able to get into the industry? So
if they do have or have had in the past a positive drug test, it's not the end of the world. One of the things that within these last few months, I have been doing so much research on the SAP program, which is Substance Abuse Professional. And once you do get that positive drug test, it's not the end of the world. You can go ahead, you can go to a SAP program, and get that information you need. And then you come to me and I help you get, your testing after that. And you still can be hired. My business partner, Miss Jerry with Life on the Road Recruiting, she is specializing in SAP drivers, giving them a second chance. And so once she gets you on and gets you with that company, she's sending you to me to make sure that you're getting tested regularly. You are having those observed collections. You are in the clearinghouse as not a prohibited driver anymore, like you're released. So you have to have a consortium over you anyway. So, I don't want you to have a positive drug test if you can, stray away from that.
I know that's right.
Like I said, it has happened over 90,000 violations,
wow.
in the clearinghouse because of that. So, I do want to give those people a second chance. It is still hope out here for you.
Okay, so all is not lost. There is still hope. That's really, really
not
good to know.
Lost. Yes.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that. They feel like, they got a positive drug test, it's the end of the world. Like, no, we can help you. Like, you need to call Polk Medical Testing. I will put you in the right position to see you win.
Yes, 100%. That's really awesome, because that's one thing that we can't afford to lose these days is hope.
No. Right. I work very closely with the staff professional, Mr. Charles. He is excellent. And right now you can still do Zoom meetings until December 31st of 2021. So you still can do that, those classes over Zoom right now. Just because of COVID, they, hopefully they may, extend it out a little bit more. But for right now, you can do those Zoom classes. So it's not lost. Like, those drivers can get help, and we can get you on to, it's plenty of mega carriers or even small fleet owners that will take a SAP driver. I found that my SAP drivers are like the best drivers. Like, they're so humble. I send them their paperwork, they getting it all done. They made a mistake, but like I said, it's not the end of the world. So for them to have a second chance, they ready.
Right, because our past is just that. It's behind us, right? And so just because of things that happened in our past, that does not mean that that our future is doomed or dark. And so that's definitely worth remembering, because sometimes we condemn ourselves sometimes, and beat up on ourselves.
I know.
So getting out of that,
we're our worst critic. That I'm guilty of that too. Like, I'm so hard on myself. I want to be like a perfectionist in like everything that I do.
I know, and it's just like,
my wife always tell me, she's like, just do it. You can fix it later. I'm like, no, I want to do it right. I want to do it the best I can right now.
Sometimes we got to do it ugly. Shout to Kelly. So like, sometimes you just have to do it, and it might not look good. It might not look pretty, but you can fix it as you go along. So
yes, you can.
Yeah. So tell us, how do we get in touch with you? How do we get to work with you? How do we, how can we connect? Let the people know, girl. Let the people know.
I sure will. So I'm on Instagram, Polk Testing on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, Polk Testing on Facebook. My website is www.polktesting.com.
Okay.
If you want to reach me by phone number, it's 314-283-6129. And that's it.
Okay. Well, Ebony, thank you so much once again for taking the time just to talk with us, real talk about what you do and just the vital role that you play in the trucking industry, and also to help women and other people know that this is also an option. Like, the trucking industry is an $800 billion industry, and this little corner of the industry right here got some dollars in it too.
Yes. I'm also going to be speaking at a conference that's going to be in St. Louis, Missouri on October the 30th. Okay. It's how to get into the trucking business without owning the truck. So we're going to teach you 5 different ways to get into this trucking industry without owning a truck.
That's
so
amazing.
You're going to be amazed at like all the different things that people can do without owning a truck, but getting some of this $1 billion money.
Yes. Okay. If there's enough out here for all of us to eat.
It definitely is. It definitely is.
And without all the competition, like it's more
Yes.
what I'm realizing the more I talk to people, it's about collaboration. It's about helping each
Yes.
other. It's about you avoiding the mistakes that I made and helping the next person to not fall in the
Yes.
ditch that I'm just stepping up out of, and
That's why I
that's one of
say
the
like
beautiful
having a
things.
good team, like
Mhm.
having a good team is like really like a good start. It's that team building, that networking, like, and that's what you need. Like I
Mhm.
said, I'm not a big social media person, but I have a great team that puts me in positions to win, and we put
Mhm.
each other in positions to win. So it's networking is number one to me.
And that's what it's all about. It really is about building these relationships
Yes.
and being there for each other, because that's like we can't do life by ourselves. And sometimes we try,
No,
because
we
we
do.
don't know that
That
there
you
are
can do something different. Yes.
yes, and that people are there to help you, or who have the resources that you might need,
Right.
so
That you always want to be in relationship with people that can bring value to yourself. Like,
absolutely.
everyone that I'm around, they bring value to me. I'm bringing value to them. We are
Hmm.
doing something together. Like they're
Exactly.
pushing me, I'm pushing them. And that's what it's about. Like,
Exactly.
even down to my marriage, like we push each other.
Hmm.
Like, so
Hmm.
you want that in all aspects of your life.
100%. That is so, so, so true. Wow. I mean, I could go on, but I want to be respectful
But
of
I
your time.
know, I
So
know. It's just like you just having
yes,
fun.
I'm pretty sure this won't be our last conversation.
No,
So this
no.
was really awesome. And once again, I just want to
Okay.
thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Lady Trucking CEO podcast. Our special guest today was Ebony Polk. She's awesome. Make sure you hit her up on all the socials,
Yes.
at Polk
Testing.
testing on all
Yes.
the socials. Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
once again, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Ebony, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care. You too.